I've been to the UK several times. I enjoy it. I'm going back in 2 weeks. But I have trouble with the language over there. Can you understand their accent over there? You guys can do it? I barely can. So one thing that really gets me confused, at this time I was really confused. A lot of this increase in the red line was called the stimulus. I referred to on a previous slide as the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. But everyone called it the stimulus here in America. And I understand what the stimulus was, a lot of ways to help people, new ways of helping people who are out of work or who are at low incomes. Got it. Okay, you go to the United Kingdom, and what they say stimulus, it sounds the same to me, but they mean the opposite. They mean lowering payroll tax rates and lowering other tax rates. So here's a graph. I'm going to change the colors a little bit. I want to show you the US red line. It's going to become a blue line. I'm going to show you the US line. I'm going to show the comparable thing for the United Kingdom. It's not done monthly like this. I think I did it quarterly, but otherwise looks similar. So there's the US on top, which I've showed you already. And here's the UK. During the recession of 2008-9, we went in opposite direction. We both called it stimulus. And from our point of view, incentive point of view, they're different. It's the homonym alert. You know, we have one word, stimulus, that means two entirely different things. And as a microeconomist, I would be rather hesitant to do some study across countries on whether they had a stimulus or not. No, I need to know is it an American English stimulus or a UK English stimulus, because they're the opposite. So that's one point of confusion. Another point of confusion I call the, again, sorry, this formula I copied. Tau is the weighted sum of the individual taus, no 1 minus. It's known in logic as the fallacy of the heap. But what I heard a lot during this period is, oh yeah, I studied the disincentives of the food stamp program, which is like one piece of the tau for some of the people. Or I studied the disincentives of the earned income tax credit. And I didn't find, I'm quoting people, I'm not saying that I found this, but I didn't find a statistically significant effect. And I'm very much against occupational licensing, but I'm wondering if we need a regulation that doesn't allow people to work with the number 0 without a license. Because the problem with 0 is you can multiply it by any number you want, no matter how big, and it's still 0. And you can see the logic here. Well, it wasn't statistically significant. I'll treat it as 0. So this one program has 0 effect. I could have 20 other programs kind of like it, and it's also going to have 0 effect, because 20 times 0 is 0. In logic, they call that the fallacy of the heap. Have you heard that? It's referring to the metaphors with sand, that if I take a grain of sand and I put it on the table here, do I have a heap? No. I put a second grain, do I have a heap? Okay, then by induction, I can keep putting grains of sand, I'll never have a heap of sand. No, that's wrong. A small disincentive is a small disincentive, it's not 0. And if you take a small thing and you multiply it by a big number, now you're going to get something that you're going to notice. And that's kind of my view of what was happening. Okay. You guys mentioned other dimensions of things. To the extent that we have tax changes, implicit or explicit, that vary by group, we're also changing the composition of the ends, which might be of interest. You're not just want to do the aggregate analysis. And we could do the same thing and use the same tools. Examples, I mentioned full-time employment. Maybe you're interested in the composition of employment between full-time versus part-time versus not working. I mean, you could do that with these tools. Another great topic is the marriage tax, that these programs, both on the tax and benefit side, they vary by marital status. And that affects the incentive to be married. you could study that. And the idea, and we've seen this, I think, on a problem set or two, is to build up sub-cost functions. Say, okay, the employer is going to minimize its costs of achieving labor from married people, minimize its cost of achieving labor from unmarried people, and then maybe minimize the balance between the two. And then you can use those sub-cost functions and compare them, divide them. Take the cost function for the married, divide by the cost function for the unmarried. Say to the extent that differs from one, we have a marriage tax or a marriage subsidy. So we get the same tools we're using for inflation, same tools we're using for aggregate analysis, now we can use for comparing across groups. We do this all the time in economics, the price indices.